Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our channel. My name is Dawn, and this channel is Dawn Does Keto. This channel is all about my accountability and my personal journey on the ketogenic diet. But on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Mike and I do a segment called Dinner with Dawn.
Is it Tuesday already?
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
Oh, it seems like just a few days ago you were out on a girls' trip and you weren't here. Well,
Dinner-
I'm Mike.
Dinner
That's
with
Dawn. And her wonderful husband, Mike.
You're supposed to finish the sentence.
I did finish the sentence. I finished it with the proper adjectives. Did you miss us, everyone? We're back. Like a really bad fungus, we're back.
It does seem like it's been a while, though.
It does.
So anyway, as I was saying, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do a segment called Dinner with Dawn and Mike. No, Dinner with Dawn.
And Mike.
And Mike. We're reading a book called The Case Against Sugar by Gary Taubes, and we discuss the book while we're having dinner. And so we're in the middle of doing that, but we're just going to show you real quick what we're having for dinner. Just some scrambled eggs and some Teton sausages wrapped in bacon. Wrapped in bacon.
And I also have some mozzarella cheese in my eggs.
Yeah, I don't have cheese on mine.
Cheese is wonderful.
Also, real quick, I wanted to tell you guys, I am adding some Redmond smoked salt to my eggs.
I probably will do the same because I do enjoy a nice hint of Redmonds on my eggs.
But I wanted to share with you guys that I have recently become an affiliate with Redmond.
I did not know that. Congratulations. Woohoo!
Yeah, it just happened a couple days ago. So if you order Redmond and you would like a discount, there's a discount down below for 10% off. You can get 10% off your purchase, and that helps our channel out as well.
Nothing better than eggs with Redmond.
It's crazy that we never used the smoked salt before we went to Keto-Palooza last year. I'm also going to have some mustard on my hot dogs.
That will be a negative for me. I will actually use some Redmonds for my meat as well.
So this is actually the first thing I've had to eat today. I haven't been feeling...
Me too.
Really?
I didn't eat lunch today either. I'm starving.
Well,
and by the way, we should tell the fine folks at home that are watching this wonderful channel that it's 9 p.m. You know what that means? It means we once again missed our deadline for trying to get dinner down before 7.
And Mike still has to go help his mom.
And I still have to go help my mom.
So
but you want to know why? Let me tell you a little story. It's tax season, and that's all you need to know. We're trying to get our taxes done, and it's taking up all my time. So there you go. I hope all of you have gotten yours done, gotten your refunds, and enjoyed yourselves, because we are still working on ours.
It's not just taxes, it's just everything. We just have a lot on our plate.
I know. Look at all that. Come on in, Zach. Say hi.
Hi.
As I was saying, I just haven't really felt that great today. My stomach's been a little weird, and I've had a little bit of like just queasiness. So I honestly just wasn't hungry. I didn't even have any coffee today. I mean, I had nothing.
You were feeling like that this morning, too, when you first got up?
I've been just feeling like that all day, yeah. And warm. I feel like even right now, I feel like I'm like having another hot flash or something. I don't know what's going on.
You could be. I mean, you haven't had one in a while, so maybe you are.
I mean, it was warmer today, but I was just getting like, I felt really overheated. So I've had some people, my video came out yesterday about my girls' weekend and how I did, but I've had some people asking me, how did Mike do? So you want to give our lovely friends an update?
Well, first of all, I haven't watched the video yet. I got to get on that because I want to read all the comments. But hey, if you need to know the truth, if you want to know, I'm going to tell you because that's what we're about. We're about transparency and being honest. So I'm going to tell you the truth. Truth is, I hate when she goes away for 4 days. She had a great time and I love that. She needed it, but I missed the hell out of her. I was home by myself with the dog that doesn't really care about me anymore because he's old. And all he likes to do is, mess up our carpet. So I hated it. I mean, if you want to know the truth, it was awful. And you know what happens when you're alone by yourself and you don't have anything else to do and you're bored to death? You tend to not eat on plan. So guess what I did all weekend?
But the funny thing is, he didn't eat by himself. I don't think you ate by yourself at all this weekend.
No, I
did.
did. I did. But here's the thing. So I had mentioned that I would potentially eat off plan because I just knew being the weekend and you not being here, you're kind of my accountability. So when we're together, like right now we're eating correctly. But when I'm by myself, it's a lot more difficult. And so just to kind of give you an idea. When I came home Thursday after work, Dawn wasn't here and I had to do my regular stuff and help my mom and all that kind of stuff. Well, my mom had said, hey, since Dawn's out of town, why don't you stay over? Our daughter goes and visits my dad on Thursdays. Why don't you stay and I'll get us something to eat? So we got our favorite pizza from our favorite pizza place. And so I had pizza on Thursday. And then my daughter, of course, purchased her and I a carbonated beverage because nothing goes better with pizza than a carbonated beverage. So there we go. So I got off to a really great start.
Right.
But I will say this, I didn't do that all day, every day. So Thursday was a normal day for me at work and that whole thing, I still stuck to my plan there, but dinner was not. I didn't snack a lot, I didn't eat a lot of junk, but then Friday got up, went to work, had the same type of day, normal day at work on Friday, came home. I worked Friday night, so I DoorDashed all night Friday till like 10 o'clock. I was starving and I had some hamburgers thawed out so I could eat clean. Well, at 10 o'clock at night, I'm not feeling like cooking no hamburgers. And so I called my wonderful daughter and I asked her to stop and pick me up something to eat, which she did at a restaurant of my choice, which she did, which was called Chick-fil-A. Thank you very much. And I again ate off plan. So that was dinner number 2. And then Saturday morning, my son and I generally get together and go out to breakfast, he and I. Generally, I eat clean at breakfast, have an omelet with some bacon or have a lot of bacon with some eggs or something like that. Well, I pretty much did that, but the idea is that I had breakfast, which I don't normally do. Mm-hmm. And then I did have some French toast. And then I, did some other things during the day.
Wait, back up. French toast.
No, they don't want to hear anymore. I'm taking too much time. They want me to keep going. I had some French toast for breakfast with my eggs and bacon and my orange juice. I always drink orange juice.
That's not clean.
Okay, so I didn't eat clean on breakfast. Okay, so then later in the day, in the evening, I had other things to do throughout the day. And then in the evening, I was hungry again and it was time to eat. And so my daughter did keep me company quite a bit, at least for bits and pieces of time. Her and I and her fiance, Zach, who is a wonderful human being, and we can't wait to welcome him to the family officially. We went to Applebee's because I had a gift card. So that makes all the justifications that I need. I had a gift card. I had chicken with shrimp on top and like some cheese, Parmesan or something. I can't remember what kind of cheese it was. And mashed potatoes. But then I also had a carbonated beverage with it. So I'm not going to lie there. So anyway, you heard what I said. I told you I was probably not going to do well. I did not do well. I could have done a lot worse. I'm not going to say I did.
Your meals were off plan, but you said you didn't do any snacking.
But I didn't do any snacking. I didn't sit around the house and eat any kind of stuff like that. I ate at my meals and that was it. But I did not eat clean one time as far as a meal goes. I just did not. So that brings us to the weigh-in on Monday, which again, I don't know, you probably didn't mention that on Monday in your video. Because I don't know if you knew. I knew when I got up Monday morning it was gonna be bad, okay? So I got on the scale and it started spinning like the Wheel of Fortune, just going round and round and round. Actually, it's a digital scale, so it doesn't do that at all, but for comedic effect. And it landed on 150, what did I say? 157.8. So I'm up 1.8 pounds from last week.
He's up less than I was, and he ate all that off-plan food. I had 2 things that were off-plan. Now, granted, I did do a lot of snacking, and you said you didn't snack at all. But I stayed keto, and I gained 2.5 pounds, and he ate all that off-plan stuff.
And gained 1.8. But I am trending in the wrong direction. Since February 1st, when I weighed 145.2, I now weigh 157.6. You do the math because I don't feel like it. But that is not a good thing. That is not a good sign at all.
That's
and what
10, 11, 12 pounds? Something like that?
It doesn't matter. It's not good.
I don't know. I don't know the exact numbers, so I was just trying to get a general idea.
But I blame her because she left me here for 4 days by myself and I had no one to take care of me.
4 days. He's talking about his weight gradually going up since the beginning of February. I've only been gone for the last 4 days. So yeah, your excuses go right out the window, pal. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I need you.
So that's Mike's update. There you go. So we are going to very quickly jump into the book tonight because we still have a lot to do. And like we said, Mike still has to go to his mom's, and he usually tries to get over there between 9 and 9:30. So he's obviously going to be late. But the chapter today, we only read half of chapter 9 because it was like 20 pages long. So we split it up just because we didn't really have time to read a ton. And speaking of time, we did the challenge for March, the walking challenge, which we completed, which I think most of you probably saw the short that we posted. We did complete that. But since that ended, I was very active over the weekend with the girls. We did some hiking and different things like that. But Mike and I haven't had a chance to walk together at all since then.
Right.
And it's been beautiful out. It was like 72 degrees and sunny today. I really want us to continue to get these walks in. We enjoy them, but our schedules are just so chaotic that...
It's tax season.
So anyway, that was just a little sidebar.
And I just want to say, as we get ready to get in this book, this chapter is really, the first half was phenomenal, I thought. I highlighted a couple things. There are 2 points made in the first half of this chapter that's all you need to know for the rest of your life. And I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to be funny. If I can remember exactly the point that I'm trying to make with them.
I'll read them and then we can discuss it. So chapter 9 is called What They Didn't Know. This chapter is really just talking about how they came to the hypothesis that fat was what was causing the issues.
It starts off by explaining the scientific method, how you get the answers that you need to get. There's the hypothesis and test, 2 simple things that you do in the scientific community to determine and to get answers, to get information, to accumulate enough data that you can find out what it is you're trying to find out, good or bad. He mentions in this book that the hypothesis that's addressed in this book, for instance, is that sugar is a dietary trigger of obesity and diabetes, and if so, the diseases such as heart disease that are associated with them. But here's the thing, and this is what we've been talking about, and this is one of these ideas that is huge. The hypothesis is ultimately about what happens over time, and in this case, over decades. The information that we've learned over the last 50 years has brought us to this point. That was what we needed. We needed that time frame to see the effects and the results of overconsumption of sugar, and we've gotten there. They can argue all they want to now and try and convince us that sugar's not bad, it's not bad for you. We have the information, and we accumulated it just the way it needed to be done, and we are now seeing the results of those tests.
Well, one of the things that they talked about in here, though, was that the hypothesis that fat caused heart disease and other, chronic diseases was never actually proven. They basically said that the conclusion that they came to, they referred to it as a leap of faith.
Right, because
it was never actually proven.
And here's one of the reasons why. Going back to what I was just saying. They were trying to get results in months, weeks and months, maybe a year or 2, but they needed decades. We needed considerably long periods of time to be able to see the constant abuse of sugar and the health results because of it. There are some health side effects, some health issues that develop from like vitamin deficiency, and that takes a few months, like scurvy or beriberi. But a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, that we've been talking about in this whole book, heart disease, high blood pressure, obesity, diabetes, those things don't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It takes a long period of time. So that's kind of how the chapter starts off. And it was amazing because if you notice, and I'm pointing this out to Dawn because we read these at 2 different times, I ran a highlighter down the whole paragraph here because that whole paragraph is just loaded with wonderful information that nails everything down that we've been talking about.
Yeah, they talk about one study that they did, and that the study, it was published in 1982, and it failed to confirm the hypothesis that men who ate high fat suffered more deaths. So what it says is the men on the low-fat diet suffered more deaths than the men who were left to their own devices. So it actually did the opposite of what they were trying to prove. So the National Institute of Health administrators also said that the data that would be definitive are ungettable. So you do your best with what is available. So they're basically saying they don't have the proof that fat causes all of these issues.
I think part of that is because if you read in here, it talks about the time frame that we're talking about. Because there were so many deaths because of fat, high fat content, they had to act. They had to do something now.
Yeah.
They couldn't wait any longer. They had to jump in. Well, because of that, they want to take the time it takes to get the result, to do the testing, to get the results. And so that's why they said, well, we'll just have to do what we can, take what we can, that's the best we can do. But the other thing was money. All of a sudden, they don't want to spend any money. They poured millions into advertising and trying to convince you that sugar was good for you. But now they need the money. They need just as much, if not more, to run long, prolonged periods of time testing to get all the results, to get the accurate information. Can't do that. Nah, we don't have time for that. We got to act now. See, they twisted this whole thing to fit their narrative. And that's part of the issue that we have even going on today.
Yeah, they talk about another trial known as the Women's Health Initiative, which was launched in the early 1990s. And at that point, women hadn't really been studied at all. They had been kind of put on the back burner. Yep. But the results were reported in 2006. It says roughly 20,000 women in the trial who had been counseled to consume low-fat diets and to eat more fruits, vegetables, and whole grains and less red meat saw no health benefits compared with the women who had been given no dietary instructions whatsoever.
So not only did it happen with the men, it happened with the women. Same old thing. Here's something else I found interesting. I think this might have been one of the points that I wanted to make. In 1984, attended by a considerable controversy, the NIH initiated a massive public relations campaign to induce every American over the age of 2. They went all the way down to 2-year-olds. To eat a low-fat diet. That's ridiculous. And the sentence in there that is most important is we've been living with those consequences ever since. Now, that's only 1984, not that long ago, but they've been doing it. They were pushing this long before then.
Yeah, it just says these authorities had now spent decades, nearly half a century, in the case of the American Heart Association, telling us that dietary fat was killing us. They couldn't just turn around and say, oh, we were wrong.
Mm-hmm. They'll never do that. Even if they're 100% wrong, they will never do that.
Yeah, exactly what you're talking about here. Public health authorities will talk about not having the time to gather definitive scientific evidence because they believe they have to act. Mm-hmm. They use that as their justification. And it says here, one danger here, of course, is that once we insist or pretend that we know the answer based on premature or incomplete evidence, we're likely to continue to insist we're right, even when evidence accumulates to the contrary.
And that's what's been going on, because the evidence has been accumulating. And that's why at this point where we're at right now, 2023, you're starting to see, I'm seeing it anyway, on social media, more and more medical professionals who have gotten into the social media game. I mean, Dr. Berry's one of them, mm-hmm. But there's a lot of other ones out there who at one time were pushing the whole grains and the low fats, and now
that's what they were told and taught.
Now they're like, oh, you shouldn't be eating that. They're changing their tune because they want to get in on the good stuff because they were wrong. And I don't know if they're trying to save face or if they're just jumping on board so they look good. I don't know. But I'm seeing more and more of it every single day on social media.
Well, you're making that sound like Dr. Berry's just jumping on the bandwagon.
No, I'm what I was saying about Dr. Berry was that he is one of those doctors who embraced social media to educate.
He actually spoke out against all the...
Exactly, that's what I mean. Yeah, I'm not saying he's like trying to get in on something. He's being proactive. He took it and used it for what it should be used for, which is promoting the truth and sharing the truth about, the standard American diet versus the proper human diet. I mean, it's just the way it is. And thank God he's there, because I'm telling you what, anytime I have a question, I go and watch one of his videos or listen to one of his podcasts or whatever, and you get
I don't think he does podcasts, but you're just talking about like YouTube videos.
YouTube videos, yeah. I don't watch a lot of that stuff, but whatever he has on there that's available to the public, I will go and look up certain questions about, whatever I might have, a question about. I might go on there and look up about cholesterol or your liver or whatever. And he's got so much information, but he embraced social media, and that's where I was going with that.
When the test results would come back and they would say that they didn't come out the way that they wanted them to, they would say that the test was flawed. And they said that it's easier to say that a single test has been flawed than to accept that our belief has been incorrect.
Right. Yep. That was one of the things I was talking about. That's all you need to know, because that's what they do every time. And that goes into every other aspect of life. If they don't get the answer they want, it's flawed.
Yeah.
It always is. Doesn't matter what it is. I highlighted 2 years, 1986 and the 1930s. And I did that because in 1986, the FDA basically exonerated sugar, and again, it's great, it's good for you, don't worry about it.
It's safe. That's
safe.
what they were
Right.
saying.
And they came to the conclusion that type 2 diabetes was caused by obesity, not sugar, and obesity itself was only caused by what?
Overeating.
Overeating too many calories. The whole calorie is a calorie thing. And I highlighted that with the 1930s because they've been preaching that and pushing that down our throats since the 30s. We are now in 2023 and they're still pushing that same old useless information that's not true.
That's pretty much the main highlights of this chapter so far, just the first half that we just wanted to touch on real quick. We'll read the second half on Thursday and talk about that.
I just want to say that sugar is real, and it's real hard sometimes to turn away from sugar.
You mean the addiction to sugar is real?
The addiction to sugar, yes.
We know sugar's a real thing. There's
Well,
no question that it exists.
I wasn't meaning that. I was meaning the addiction to sugar, yes, because I'm going to tell you what, while you were gone for those 4 days, I struggled. I did. And my eating shows that. I didn't feel guilty other than the fact that I knew that I was going to have bad results and then I was going to have to start getting back on track, and it was going to be difficult. And it is, no matter how far along you are in your journey, it doesn't take much to trip up, and then it's tough climbing back out.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing I did also, now I just remembered this from the weekend, I also purchased a energy drink. There's only one energy drink that I will ever drink, and I don't do it very often, but I did it this weekend. I stopped at the convenience store and picked up a can of my favorite energy drink. So that's just another setback that I had. But
he did say yesterday again, and he's been saying this since we got off beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, is how bad he feels.
I feel awful. So my right shoulder that I have supposedly have a partially torn rotator cuff, which I don't doubt that's true. I'm sure it is because I played a lot of sports in my time and I probably destroyed it. But at the end of beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, my shoulder did not hurt at all. And it's throbbing. It keeps me up at night. It wakes me up every time I roll over now. And I know why.
So people are going to say, if you feel that bad while, eating off plan or whatever, then why do you continuously eat off plan?
Because the addiction is real. It is.
That's it for tonight, guys. That's the first half of chapter 9. We will read the second half on Thursday and be back for that part of that discussion. Until then, we hope you guys all have a great week.
Yep, we missed you. We're glad to be back. I'm glad she's home. Even though she doesn't feel great, but I'd rather have her here not feeling great than not here at all.
Yeah, I didn't even eat all of my dinner because I just don't feel wonderful. So that's it for tonight, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye.